Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
The market, and it's still with Mama Ahiagbe. He says, you have admitted that the agriculture sector is doing well, very well, and that is going to positively impact food inflation in the coming months. What is of concern now is how we get the produce from the farmers. I can assure you that I was in cabinet when the president directed the Minister of Finance to make money available to buffer stock so that they can buy the produce from the farmers. And then Ahiagbe asked that some of the warehouses constructed during the Akufo-Addo administration would be instrumental in storing the current bumper harvest. However, he knows with concern that unfortunately none of the factories is functioning, stressing the need for operational facilities to complement the storage infrastructure. So maybe what we need to find out is where are we in the scheme of things?
Absolutely, but you see, so there's also the possibility that indeed that these figures could be exaggerated in terms of what they claim to have in their warehouses. Right. It is very possible. But Moro, the fundamental issue is that for a government such as ours, we do not take things for granted. To the extent that the farmer associations have issued a statement, we proceed on the assumption that they have engaged their colleagues, and based on which they have decided to release this statement. And so we are not going to treat it with kid gloves. Okay. These are concerns that requires even the minister responsible for agriculture to go to the grounds. Okay. He should direct his directors, let them go onto the grounds and assess the situation. Okay. And through that, they can present a report to Parliament, to the presidency, and an action can be taken. But in terms of resources made available to National Buffer Stock Company, that is clearly so. But like I indicated, this year is one of austerity. Right. Allocations are made. It is expected that many of them may not meet the required threshold because of the peculiar financial challenges we find ourselves. I have always argued that there's so much investments that we need to do as far as the agriculture sector is concerned. So I do not think that the last year's budget or this year's budget would be able to meet that requirement in terms of the capital investments that we need to invest in the agriculture sector. Right. And that is the reason why it is important for us to continue to call on governments to do the needful by injecting more resources in the agriculture sector. It's an arena we can all take advantage of. I have tried it a number of times and I have not been successful in the agriculture sector. Indeed, there are so many policies that government can roll out. Because I remember when I tried it, because I was not personally on the grounds to monitor, it became practically impossible for me to reap the needed benefits associated with the sector. So at a point I had to pull out. Okay. So even in terms of, it's not just about money, but sometimes even there's the need for some training to be done.
Your trainer is here.
No, but government, this is an individual, but government should be willing to lead that training in terms of how to manage farm management principles, how it should be done. These are training facilities that we can begin to incorporate when it comes to the whole project of agriculture expansion. And for me, that was one challenge that made it impossible for me to continue. Because I realized that I simply did not have the requisite knowledge to man this venture that I had gone into. And it should be possible for me to be able to man my farm somewhere in the northern region, even seated here in Accra.
Yeah, it's possible.
But that architecture is not there. And apart from the fact that the architecture is not available, I do not even have the rudiments of farm management. And these are some of the things we must begin to look at. And I call on the agriculture minister to take that aspect very seriously and see how we can all work together. But as for the minority, Moro, you see, I've always made the point that if you want to focus on what the NPP says, you are likely to be driven by anger because you'll be reminded of the wasteful 8 years that we give to them, for which they failed to do nothing, especially in the agricultural sector. And just less than 9 or 10 months in opposition, they suddenly have arrogated to themselves the responsibility of championing agricultural growth when they had all the resources, time in government to be able to actually signal an interest in that sector. They failed. And so that's why I'm telling you that if you are not careful and you want to situate the discussion in what the NPP says, there's the tendency for you to be driven by emotions and miss the bigger picture of legitimate concerns being raised by the Ghanaian farmer. And this government will not be distracted by the noise or needless noise of the New Patriotic Party.
Okay.
We will do what is required of us.
Okay.
We will continue to engage our farmers. We will listen to their legitimate concerns,
right,
and work assiduously, day and night, to ensure that we find a lasting solution to the problem of agriculture. Because it is in the interest of this government, it is in the interest of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama to have a working agriculture sector, because that is the brainchild of his second term. Indeed, that is the bedrock of the legacy he aspires to leave.
Okay.
And it is not for nothing that he personally is championing that accelerated export development corporation,
okay,
to lead exports coming from the agricultural sector. Okay. So we will not take it lightly. Right. They should know that they have a president who is clearly interested in agriculture, who himself is a farmer,
okay,
and clearly has them at heart. What we need now is to give him the necessary support, okay, time, okay, and space to be able to clear the economic mess, okay, and strategically position the agriculture sector, okay, so that all of us can take advantage of going forward.
All right, so we'll take a little breather.
Oh, Moro.
Just a little breather.
Just a quick one.
Just a little breather.
Okay.
I don't want to cut short.
Okay.
But I don't want you to land.
That's okay.
I want you to land well. So you're watching who is a private legal practitioner and also a member of the NDC's communications team, so Hamza Suhuyini Esquire. And also Richard Ahiagbe, who is the Director of Communications of the New Patriotic Party. You know, Richard, we used to always call you Richard Ahiagbe. So it took my MD one day who told me, it's Ahiagbe.
Yes, Ahiagbe.
Yeah, and I said, yes, sir.
Yeah.
I said, Ahiagbe. You know, a lot of our media folks are actually making the mistake of calling Ahiagbe.
It's okay.
What does it mean?
It's a burden of love, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But you know,
burden of love.
The burden of love you
okay,
carry out. But you see, I've heard various renditions
and
of
shows with your association of the New Patriotic.
Oh.
Oh, but they have been grossly unfair to his likes in the last 8 years, despite the love that he has shown, the love and affection he has shown the party. But that was the truth. That was the truth. Names actually have been
it's on steroids.
a very difficult situation.
It's on steroids. You know, but on your
on the show.
No,
you finish it right now. What do you want to say? Anyway, Richard, I'm listening.
You know, I've heard various renditions of it having been outside, and in any way anybody calls me, I respond.
Okay.
So I don't get into the whole thing of
correcting people,
because I've heard very complete.
What's the
versions.
worst? What's the worst you ever heard?
Oh, outside this country, I've heard Anyama. And many different versions.
It doesn't bother you, does it?
No.
It doesn't bother you.
I it's tough to pronounce if you're not in the, a native speaker.
Right.
It's difficult. So I don't get into that.
Okay.
But so, Moro, I think that largely I don't disagree too much with Hamza. He's shown some very critical communication when he's calling on the minister to, get into the weeds and get stuff done. And then he's talked also a little bit about the president's commitment, which I think that is not in question, but wishes are not horses. The idea is that, yes, you wish for ABCD to happen, you must see to it that it happens. And that's where the rubber hits the road. And that's where the challenge is right now. The Feed Ghana, I'm the first person to say it's a good idea, building on the PFJ Phase 2, even though Hamza says that it is their creation. But I don't think that they created Planting for Food and Jobs. So we put in Planting for Food and Jobs, which has actually helped the agri sector grow. Moro, in 2017, when we took over from the NDC, I think the agri sector grew just about 2.7. At the close of 2017, as the 2018 reports, it's about 8.4% agri sector grew by. And under us, agri sector continued to grow. Nothing compared to what they reported. I think in 2014 or so, the agri sector dropped all the way to 0.9%. So we've done better with agri. The Akufo-Addo MPP government has done much, much better with agri. If today you are comparing the former president's first term with our period in government, we have done exceedingly better with agri. So that record must reflect. Now, the challenge with the implementation of the program, and I again commend Hamza on making a call on the government and the honest admission that this year is a year of austerity, which it shouldn't have to be. We should be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. The mandate of the president does not have any grace period within which you don't do anything, right? You come in, your mandate starts from the 7th and it runs through till the 7th of the 7th of January after election. So in this case, 7th January 2029. So my thinking is that the president ought to hit the road running from the 7th of January. So this whole excuse that, okay, well, this year we're trying to deal with some economic mess, which is make-believe economic mess, okay? The idea is, it is clear without a doubt that before we left office, this economy was recovering. The economy started recovering strongly from 2023. The IMF has attested to that. The World Bank has attested to that. There's ample documentation to that effect. So the economy was on a path of recovery. So they inherited a recovering economy. In fact, strong in 2024 growth of 5.7%. Okay, even though they are projected to grow 4%, which is a difficulty that I see from inheriting such a high growth level. But they didn't inherit an economy in shambles. No, at all. Yes, when a difficult situation in 2022, we hit a certain rough ride, but then we have managed the economy, okay, to where it is recovering. Now, if there is any relief for the Ghanaian, if there is any improvement such that it is reflecting in the lives of Ghanaians, it was just a matter of time that we got to that point. And so they are on a path to advance what they inherited. If they are facing challenges of doing so expeditiously, then they should say it. That the rate at which they ought to grow the economy is not growing that way, and that's the difficulty they are facing. That's a point to be made, but that is not a function of the previous government. It's not because they inherited an economy that is stagnant. No, they inherited a growing economy, which grew by the time they took off at 5.7. That is not a mean economy. That is not an economy in stagnation at all by anybody's measure. Okay, by the worst enemy of the MPP, if you measure that and say our performance is 5.7, it is creditable. That is, we are expecting to see them to grow at that 5.7%, but they have projected 4% or so. So the economy is not in shambles as they purport to make the point, but I agree that we've gone through some rough patches. Those difficulties we have addressed, and I think I agree with the president recently when he mentioned about the DDEP. I have my own concerns about it, and I've said it that, you know, as a party that and our belief system, that's not a policy that ought to be implemented under us. But it was a difficult situation. There was no option. There was nowhere to turn to but to own and deal with the problem. And so I wasn't surprised when the president made that. It was an honest admission at reflecting the kind of difficulty he went through as a president to supervise that implementation of DDEP. So the economy is at a place where the NDC, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, could have implemented this flagship program, the Feed Ghana program, to make sure that Ghanaians in the real sector, Moro, one of the drive that brought the NDC to office is the idea of creating jobs. Okay, now it is dead. The idea of 24-hour economy is completely comatose. There's nothing happening on that front now. It's a big document. You read it, you don't know. By the time you finish the introduction, you forgot what really they're about to do. Quite different from what they told us, very expressly, as though that when they walk into office, the following day there's a switch that they're going to flip on, and there'll be jobs that people can do, 3 people at a time, right? They'll have 1-3-3-3 was the formula. Okay, if that's a lotto number, you can play it all you want. You're not going to win anything because it's not materializing in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Right? So that is their problem. The economy was good. The FGP, which is the Feed Ghana program, that program, if properly implemented, would create jobs, would help us create jobs for our young people. But it hasn't been implemented. Now we're hearing the excuse, which we know that it is because they are practicing some austerity, which is something that is beyond me. When you make a thing your flagship, you know, I go for those flagship, the free SHS. It was implemented the same year. September, we had it on the road. So Feed Ghana program is President Mahama's flagship program, but nothing, not a single disbursement. But before I go, you know, the Farmer Service Center, that idea is novel. I like it. It's a fantastic idea. But nothing whatsoever has been done about it. And it is in that aspect of the Feed Ghana that has the market linkage component, and it has also credit component in that, but nothing whatsoever has been done about that sector. So that's part of the problem, especially to do with the matter that we're discussing in terms of the glut, that is that farmers are looking for market and they can't find. That component is supposed to deal with it. So if we are hearing that cabinet has approved some money for buffer stock to do it, I think that they need to act speedily and make sure that that is done. But again, just a plea to the president. It will be a feather in his cap if we are able to exercise the political will to engage the import cartel of rice, to say that now we have our own capacity and our determination, our goal is to feed Ghana, eat Ghana, and secure the future. Then we must have the courage to curtail the import, because now we can produce at home. And what is a point that we must note, and part of the promotion moral, is that the local rice is more nutritious, is better, is better for your health than the imports, which is polished and treated in many different ways. So that aspect, I think that I'll be a champion in the president's corner to say that let's curtail the import of rice. Those who are invested in that sector, who are perhaps lobbying and pushing the envelope not to have this happen, they can repurpose their investment and promote the local sector, the local rice sector, so that we can save ourselves the forex and ensure the stability of our city, and then boost domestic production, job creation as a result, and stabilize the city. I think that that's something we need to do for ourselves. But as for the NDC claiming the economy is their problem, I tell you, it is not. They didn't inherit a bad economy at all. They needed to build on it. If they are slow building it, that one is their cup of tea. They can't blame the opposition for that at all.
I think that there's one fundamental thing that we need to set out, especially when it comes to the politics of the New Patriotic Party. It is the fact that they are averse to principle politics, and politics rooted in sincerity and honesty to the good people of the Republic of Ghana. And that is one fundamental difference between the National Democratic Congress and that of the NPP. For the NPP, what they are experts in is how to simply abuse your arguments, misinterpret your motives, and deride your sincerity. And so they are quick at turning criticisms of all legitimate criticisms of Ghanaians into accusations. That is what they have mastery over. But when it comes to governance, they are simply lacking. And I'll demonstrate why. Moro, on this table, I upheld the principle of sincerity in politics and honesty when dealing with the Ghanaian people. Nowhere have I suggested that because of the economic mess that they left behind, this government has been quite unable to release funds to many of these sectors, including the buffer stock company, to buy produce. I have made references to the fact that even in the midst of the economic downturn and mess that we have inherited and our commitment to clean that mess, releases have been made. But as a government that underscores the importance of sincerity and honesty in political discourse, I was quick to add that undoubtedly it still doesn't match up to the needed investments in the agriculture sector. That is a hallmark of honesty. That is how you are being sincere and honest to the Ghanaian people. But not for their politics. My brother was quick to assume or to proceed on the induced assumption that government, because of economic challenges, has not made any advances in these sectors. That is not true. Not long ago, you heard even His Excellency President Mahama, in line with the objectives of the Feed Ghana project, direct senior high schools in Ashanti region to buy even tomatoes from local farmers. Moro, didn't you hear that? He directed us a presidential directive. Right. Not even a directive from the minister responsible for education or agriculture. That is the president who still has a handle on the entire policy rationale behind the Feed Ghana project and is committed to its implementation. Our references to the fact that there is the need for us to clean the mess is not an indication is not an indication that, look, this is a government that is interested in fishing out excuses. Absolutely not. It is rather rooted in sincerity, because we acknowledge that so much investment needs to be done in the agriculture sector. But because of the mess that you left behind, it is making it practically impossible for the agriculture sector to get all the needed investments in a single year. In this year alone. And why are we creating the impression, if not the NPP, that the manifesto that we presented to the good people of this country was a manifesto meant to be implemented in 1 year? Is that my brother's understanding of the social contract political parties sign with the good people of this country using their manifestos? Absolutely unacceptable. Another hallmark of their tradition. Cheap and deceptive politicking. And that is the reason why we need to let the NPP understand that, look, if they are interested in partnership, the NDC is open. And the Ghanaian people are open. But if they are simply interested in scoring cheap political goals, this is not the time for them. Okay. Because their record is not hidden. And Moro, he made references to the fact that, look, they handed over to us a very thriving economy. Quite clearly, Richard possibly was living under a different planet. Because I was even surprised he had to make reference to their domestic debt exchange program. This is a government that left us in excess of 121 billion Ghana cedis in debt. 721 in debt. This government. We are talking about a government that virtually succeeded in the last 8 years of running down state institutions, including a crucial national institution like the Electricity Company of Ghana, and got us into debt of I think about 68 billion Ghana cedis that we are still dealing with. Not to talk of the debt they left behind at Road Fund and Cocoa Board. That is your legacy. This is not lost on any Ghanaian. What you were masters in were clearly how to extort monies using these state institutions and questionable policy interventions under the guise of contributing meaningfully to national development. That is the record that you left behind. And so for us, we would not be swayed by your politics of deception intended to misinterpret our honesty and abuse our arguments, especially when it comes to being truthful to the good people of this country. And that is the reason why I will still not shy away from indicating that, look, the steps that needs to be taken, the minister responsible for agriculture and His Excellency President Mahama, I'm convinced, will take those steps. But spare us this early morning sermon, Richard, okay, because your record is there of all the beautiful things you spoke about.
Okay.
About what you did with the Planting for Food program. What benefits? Even under you, there are still questions for your agriculture minister, and you people throw jargons at each other. In this your current presidential contest, many of your flag bearer aspirants are now those who have become official spokespersons for the good people of this country in terms of the economic record you left behind. When it comes to the agriculture sector, indeed, those of you supporting Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia have had cause to tell Brian Achampong to shut up because of the mess he left behind as far as the agriculture sector is concerned. Okay. So this is your record. Okay. We have in place a government that has shown commitment, that has indicated its willingness to clear that mess. And my brother also referenced the fact that the majority leader indicated that the presidency had directed the minister responsible for finance to make some allocations to the National Buffer Stock Company to procure many of these items. Others have raised questions as to whether indeed these quantums of grains are actually available in warehouses. Right. These are all legitimate concerns. And so if indeed you are concerned about the agriculture sector, these are facts we need to verify in terms of the quantities that they have available. All right. And we would engage in that holistic discussion as to how to take advantage of it. And that is why I called on the agriculture minister to go out there and ascertain the veracity of these claims and present a report to His Excellency the President, and be rest assured, like he directed, okay, President Mahama will once again direct an important solution to that particular challenge that the farmers are making references to. But until that is done,
let's move on.
Yes, but until that is done, until we move on, let me place this on record that we are advocating for a government that will not take the good people of this country for granted. We will not deceive them that many of the promises we made in opposition, we will implement in a single year. All right. We know that we have a 4-year mandate. Okay. And our steps will be guided. All right. We would ensure that by the end of that 4-year mandate, we would have a story to tell the Ghanaian people. Okay. Indeed, they themselves would be advocates of that legacy. Right. His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, okay, and the NDC will leave behind. And that is our focus. All right. We will not be distracted by the petty politics of the New Patriotic Party and its associates.
Thank you.
But just and
then I will come back again. Of course, I would have to come back.
It's nothing. I mean, what we are talking about.
Once you talk, you know, brother.
Yeah, we talk about. The point is very simple. Hamza,
Richard, I'll come back.
Yeah, it's okay. Hamza is a nice guy.
Spend 3 hours with this. There are many other issues to talk about.
But it's important. For what we eat, what we eat is proper that we talk about.
I know. We can't spend all day. Come on.
You see, Hamza is a nice guy. He's doing his best, and I will support him any day. But the thing is that he's defending a very difficult position. Okay. Really. You see, the record of the NDC...
You are going to allow him to...
I
will be entitled to my right to
record. No problem. He's a lawyer, so he's a
take the whole day.
No, that's okay. But it's worth it.
Let me do this.
I'm coming. Just a small point. You see, so the point is that on the record of the economy, Moro, I admit that we hit a rough patch in our post-COVID 2020.
It is not even accurate. It's not post-COVID. And I'll demonstrate why it is not post-COVID.
No problem. That's fine. You see, before we hit that rough patch, Moro, we're all in this country. Okay. The economy we inherited from His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was an economy that grew 3.6. He inherited that economy in 2013 about 7.3 or so % GDP. Okay, declined all the way, okay, to 3.6 or 3.4, depending on what series you're looking at. But actually 3.4 if you look at the expanded, then maybe 3.6. Okay. Moro, that economy we inherited from His Excellency John Dramani Mahama grew on average 7% in 2017, 2018, 2019. Before COVID, 20.5%. Okay, so a consistent growth of 7%. He was able to do 3.6%. Having inherited the economy from 7.3%, okay, the capacity of our economy shrank under him. So when we're talking economic management, and now it's as if everybody in Ghana, we have extinguished the history of Akufo-Addo's performance, and we are looking at something before us, which is actually not even inspiring, because their first year projection is actually lower than what they inherited. So we took an economy at 3.6, left it for them at 5.7, 6%. Okay? When he took at 7 and left it at 3.4, are you comparing that to tell me that they have done a better job? No. So Hamza, the record is clear. When you come to that Greek sector, which we are discussing, under them, that Greek sector was not growing. You see, you look at opportunities for the average Ghanaian in the real sector. Okay, you look at industry, you look at service, you look at agriculture. If agriculture sector is not growing, it means that the average Ghanaian is not finding opportunity. So we are talking about a critical sector to the Ghanaian people. What gives people jobs? And so you have come to launch a flagship program. Which program you are supposed to fund? It's not being funded. I'm telling you, it's not being funded. Whether it's austerity, whether it is some strategy or not, this is what you say is your flagship. It's not being funded. Okay? If you have challenge, say you have challenge. But this thing about polishing this thing and say, oh, whatever, mandate is 4 years. We know it's 4 years, but you do your budget every year. So it means that the 2025 fiscal year, you have done nothing for Agric. You have done nothing. And now we are here, farmers who are supposed to be celebrating Farmers' Day says they don't want to celebrate it because there's nothing to celebrate. This should put chill in the spines of the government. I am not inclined to just criticize this government for the sake of it, because I believe that we are in this thing together. Okay, so whether it works, if it doesn't work, we are all in it together. So their success is my success, and I, under any circumstance, would flag where they are doing well. But the point is that the thing is not happening. Okay. It's not happening, so we must say it as it is, and then encourage the government to do more.
Yeah, let's move on.
That's the point.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, but as you advised earlier, if Hamza come in, then it means naturally I'll come in. So this
I have the right of reply, of course. Moro.
So I don't have a right of reply.
I'm only replying to you. You started the discussion. Moro, this is very, very important.
Well, now let's talk about something different. You are done with that.
Unbelievable.
You see?
He's not
Moro, this is very important. So my brother made the assertion that until COVID, they were having a very good run in terms of their economic fortunes. That is clearly not accurate. Go back to 2019 and read the commentary of Christian Laporte, the World Bank or the IMF country representative then. He indicated in clear language that Ghana's economy had shown serious signs of distress even before COVID, driven by reckless borrowing. Remember, these are the people who had to even organize a Kinke party for simply borrowing. Reckless borrowing and corruption became the bane of our economic mess, even before COVID.
But talk about performance.
This was, please, I'll get there. If you go back to the 2016 budget report, all the targets that were projected for 2017 were met, because we knew the kind of investments we had put in that sector. Take cocoa pot, for instance. We made projections of the number of tons of cocoa we were expecting for 2017. It came almost the same way, about 1 million tons. That season didn't start with your 2017. Go back to the amounts we made available in terms of Ghana's sinking fund. There were enormous resources because of the prudent management of the economy, even in the midst of economic downturn, occasioned by poor pricing mechanisms for many of our international export commodities, including gold and cocoa, before His Excellency President Mahama left office. But we managed successfully, after the Century Conference and implemented our homegrown policies that led to some notable gains. And so by end of 2016, the fundamentals were promising. You only inherited the positive effects of the investments the John Dramani Mahama administration had made in the agriculture sector when you came into office in the 2017 financial year. Not just even in the agriculture sector alone, the economy as a whole. More, you remember that these were the people in opposition who said that there was absolutely nothing left in the coffers. But in less than 1 year in office, they were able to implement the free senior high school policy. If there was nothing, do you think that they would have had the financial wherewithal and muscle to be able to contain the pressures of that expenditure in the first year? It is because they were emboldened by the kind of resources that we left behind for them. Road sector, road fund alone, we left in excess of 700 to 800 million for payment of contractors. They sat on that money for well over a year and succeeded even in diverting same, and entered into questionable transaction with a particular bank of a name that I want to withhold, that purported to be advancing payments to contractors, and at the back of that were intended or were meant to receive interest for taking lead in advancing those payments to contractors, when in actual sense the money was available. So from the word go, we were dealing with a criminal cabal that was motivated simply with the appetite to line their pockets in government, not necessarily to drive economic growth. And that is why by 2019, the effects were palpable.
Okay.
And you did not need an angel to descend from high heavens to tell you that these were a bunch of people who came into government to empower themselves at the expense of the state.
All right.
Today, the story is different.
Okay.
You have a government that is focused. You have a government that is honest. You have a government that accepts where there are rooms for where there is room for improvement, that indeed we need to do better here. And that is the difference. Okay. Because we have learned even useful lessons in opposition. All right. And we know that you cannot continue to take the good people of this country for granted. And so my brother Richard can begin to live in his own created economic bubble of success.
Okay.
But those who suffer as a result of the domestic debt exchange program will not forget that legacy.
All right, then.
He can continue to create that bubble of economic progress under them.
All right.
But our international partners who have had to let go of a portion of their debts as a result of the, what's the name?
You mean the DDP?
Yes, as a result of the foreign component of the debt exchange program.
All right.
They will not forget. Remember that we are dealing with a cabal that succeeded in locking us out of the international capital market because of their poor economic record.
All right.
So that is known.
Okay.
When the NDC was in charge, did you ever hear that we were unable to pay our foreign debts? Did you ever hear that we were locked out of the capital markets? Did you ever hear international rating agencies declaring this country as a junk status? This is the record you left behind.
All right.
And so if we are cleaning the mess, you simply do not expect us to clean that mess in a matter of 4, 5, or 9 months.
There was no mess you're cleaning up.
You see, and President Mahama was even being charitable when he declared, upon assumption of office, that he had met an economic crime scene. It is even more worse. These guys were simply in government to pursue their individual agenda of enriching themselves. Moro, are you not surprised about the discoveries we are making from National Service Secretariat to the National Buffer Stock Company and to the Signals Bureau?
Okay. So speaking of
that should tell you the kind of governance we were subjected to in the last 8 years. And so, Richard, I think that you would be doing the good people of this country well if you tone down a bit and give us the opportunity to clear your mess. Please.
For 8 years. You don't get tired?
No, but the record might be set.
No, it's about Moro. It's about Moro.
No.
Anyway, let's move on. So today's Daily Guide. If you do this, we can't have a show.
I'll use my
Daily Guide. No. Today's Daily Guide is reporting on its page 3. It's giving us an update on this buffer stock matter. In fact, it's come up several times in your submissions. I mean, both of you. So there's an update on the former Chief Executive Officer of the National Food and Buffer Stock Company Limited, NAFCO, Hanan Abdul Wahab Aludeba, and his wife, Faiza Said Wuni, were told that they have been charged by the Attorney General for allegedly stealing and causing financial loss to the state, totaling 78 million cedis. Now, charged along them is Richard Samasanti, who is said to be on the run, as well as the Ludiba Foundation and Energy Partners Limited, 2 companies related to the couple. Now, the accused persons are facing charges of stealing, fraudulently causing financial loss to the state, abetment of stealing, money laundering, defrauding by false pretenses, intentional dissipation of public funds, and using public office for profits dishonestly, receiving and intentionally causing financial loss to the state. According to the charge sheet, Mr. Abdul Wahab allegedly stole 50.897 million cedis from NAFCO by transferring it to James Teku Apau, operating under the name Sultina Enterprise between February 2017 and February 2025. His wife, Faiza Seidu Wune, allegedly laundered a total of 34 million cedis, owing and knowing at the time of taking the money that it was acquired through a criminal enterprise. Now, she is also accused of dishonestly receiving 4,401,831 from NAFCO between 2018 and 2023, knowing very well that the money was appropriated through stealing. Now, Richard Samasanti, on the other hand, has been charged for conspiring to steal 5,495,748 cedis from NAFCO between February 2017 and February 2019. Now, court documents indicate that the Economic and Organized Crime Office, YOCO, received tip-offs that Abdul Wahab has over 8 years that he was the CEO of NAFCO, embezzled hundreds of millions of Ghana cedis from NAFCO, and used the embezzled monies to acquire vast estate and businesses across the country and elsewhere. The brief facts indicate that YOCO's preliminary investigation revealed that almost 78 million cedis had moved from the bank accounts of NAFCO to Sultina, and that these funds were transferred in a series of 86 transactions between October 2019 and September 2023. It further indicates that the transfers were made from NAFCO into Sultina's bank account with the Republic Bank, Laboni branch, where Abdul Wahab maintained several bank accounts with the same bank relationship officer managing all his accounts. The Attorney General says the relationship officer will testify for the prosecution in the course of the trial. Now, subsequent investigations revealed that somewhere 2018, James Tegu Apau, the then regional manager at NAFCO, approached Abdul Wahab and informed him of a desire to buy and supply foodstuffs to NAFCO, and he agreed. Now, Abdul Wahab allegedly had James Teku Apau's business, Sultina, quickly approved as a licensing buyer and licensed buying company. That's what I should be saying, and immediately started trading with NAFCO. Now, under
agenda of the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo government.
All right, Hamza.
Moro.
The accountability train is
I can appreciate it is, but I can appreciate the frustration my brother finds himself in this moment, especially in relation to the issues of economic performance comparatively with the National Democratic Congress on one hand, and of course the political party that he represents, which is the NPP, an unfortunate political tradition that we have had to deal with since 1992. That has proven that it is the greatest threat to our democratic stability and quite recently to even our economic gains. And so I was surprised that my brother sought to create an impression that when it comes to economic record, they do well than the National Democratic Congress. That is far-fetched. Their record of economic management is known. You see, these are a bunch of people who are committed to quick fixes and engineering of economic data that was even exposed at a point in time by the IMF, if you remember, Moro, in terms of how they even computed our external debt. So your record is known when it comes to engineering of these figures to demonstrate or to sort to create an impression as though you are doing well. But in no time, you are mostly exposed. My brother, I'm disappointed that you even had to make references to the President Kufuor era. After we handed over power to you in 2000, again, with positive signs of economic progress and recovery, you had to seek refuge in a redenomination exercise in 2007 after President John Adjekum Kufuor. Have you forgotten?
Right.
It was simply because you once again decided to engage in propaganda way of managing the economy. And you were exposed in no time. And your only way out was simply to take advantage of redenomination to bury your incompetencies and corruption. That was your record. It was the redenomination exercise that gave you an opening out of the way. Fast forward, in 2023, the propaganda began to give way once again to your incompetence and appetite to engineer economic growth figures. What did we do as a country? You subjected us to a debt exchange program at the expense of the ordinary Ghanaian worker. In your bid, oh, now you are saying is that Baffa stock. In your bid to hide your incompetencies and reckless handling of our Ghanaian economy. The NDC has never had such a record, where in the past it had to rely on redenomination to save our economy or come on board with a policy as difficult as domestic debt exchange program. And of course, a foreign component of it intended to salvage our economy. Have you forgotten that at a point you were even relying on deductions from Momo to save this economy? We've never been anywhere close to such a record because we are not a party known for engineering economic growth figures. We present them as they are. And my brother sought to create an impression or create a comparison between 2013 to 2016 and that of their 8-year tenure as far as our economic fundamentals are concerned. Remember, Moroda, when they first assumed office in 2017, and we sought to engage them in a comparative analysis of our economic situation, they told us that it will be disingenuous on the part of the NDC to compare an 8-year record to their first term. Do you remember these excuses? Right. And so, an effective way of comparison, Richard, is to take the NDC's second term, that is 2012 to 2016, as against the NPP's second term of 2020 to 2024, and let us look at the growth figures. In 2013, our second term, our growth rate in terms of GDP was about 7%, in excess of 7%. In your second term, from 2020, Moro, to 2024, your 2021 growth rate was 0.51%.
Now you mean 2020? That's 2021.
2021.
No, 2021 was 5.3.
My brother.
No, 2020 is what you're talking about. 2020. Yeah,
so,
2020.
well, I said that you can.
Because 2020, we
are you going to allow me to make my submissions?
Oh, no, just a small.
No, you can come in. You can come in and
okay.
And raise your own issues.
You're right, but it's just that.
So 20, yes. So 0.51%.
Yeah.
Even your 2021%, if we are to go by the 5.18%, it was still far less than NDC's GDP growth of 7.1% in its second year, as far as the 2023 is concerned, 2013 is concerned, and 2014 rather.
No,
so,
but that's Atta Mills.
Oh my goodness! Well, in the second term was President Mahama was Atta Mills president. In our second term was president.
That is Atta Mills.
I am comparing our figures
in
second term as against your figures in second term, and I am telling you that even if you take that data, the NDC still did better. And even in the midst of all that, the NDC did not announce a debt exchange program. Absolutely not. Neither did we announce. Please, neither did we announce a redenomination of our currency.
A redenomination is not bad, though.
Oh, my brother, I am telling you that that was what you guys sought to do to hide your inefficiencies from 2007, when you realized that your propaganda had catch up with you. And now, under President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, again you had to take refuge in a debt exchange program when your propaganda caught up with you. The NDC, we do not have such a record when it comes to the management of our economy. And that is why we are better managers of the economy, because we don't manage the economy based on propaganda. Your own flag bearer in the last election, and now seeking to be flag bearer again, and Vice President of the Republic of Ghana under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, what promises didn't he make in terms of the economy that you guys wanted to lead? So your economic indicators have always been rooted in propaganda and deception. That is not the NDC. So you cannot compare us when it comes to commitment to economic recovery and the kind of investments we put in that regard. And my brother sought to belittle the issues of corruption.
No,
look, corruption is inextricably linked to economic development and arguably economic growth. And you simply do not seek to whitewash the NPP by saying that some few elements within the NPP. Absolutely not. It is your brand, even if it is a single person. And in this instance, we are not talking of a single person. Moro, look, we have National Service Secretariat. I am sure my brother is appalled and embarrassed by the contents of the investigations that are coming out. What their appointees were engaged in. Now, Buffer Stock Company has been exposed. Electricity Company of Ghana. In excess of over, what do you call it? I'm told that they even exceeded their budget in excess of about 181 billion Ghana cedis, or million Ghana cedis. Right? Or billion, I think it's around in billions. So that is your record with nothing to show. Rooted in corruption. So it is not just Buffer Stock alone we are dealing with, Moro. So this should give you an idea of the kind of looting that was being carried out under the cover of darkness, under Nana Addo's presidency and that of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia as vice president. These were the people who promised in opposition to protect the public purse. So this is not light. It gives an indication of the character of the New Patriotic Party. So it is not enough to say some elements within the New Patriotic Party. Absolutely not. Look, as we speak today, your finance minister, Ken Ofori, a cousin to His Excellency Nana Addo, is still on the run.
He's not been charged
because of his questionable financial transactions.
Moro, he's not been charged with any crime.
Moro, the gentleman is even running away from accountability. No. It's a basic component of democratic governance. No, if you have served your republic and there are questions for you to answer, it is only proper Hamza, that you make yourself. Can I make my point?
Just help me. No, I'm not interrupting.
My brother, I'm not here to answer your questions. I'm not here to answer your questions.
No, but we are learning.
No, but I'm not here. After I'm done with my submission, you can ask your question.
Ken is unwell. He's unwell.
Oh, my brother.
My
brother. Are you going to allow him to do that?
No, come on.
Ken is unwell.
So you see, why are you so jittery with my submission? When you were talking, I was quiet.
No problem.
I had disagreements. Don't be jittery.
You are nice, so you give more time.
Don't be jittery. Moro.
You know, Andy can get extra time.
Oh my goodness. Richard, why are you doing this today? Why are you doing this?
No, I'm helping to get more time.
They say that
tell Andy whatever she does to get more time.
So you see, it is not just an individual problem. It is a political party problem. We are talking about a party that even in government, a sitting cabinet minister opted to buy assets belonging to the state. And yet that minister was not fired by the president then. He still continued to sit in cabinet and today has the effrontery to even tell us that he's running to become president. This was the level of degeneration that we're subjected to as a country. And for many of us who still hold strongly to the foundational principles of the National Democratic Congress, rooted in probity and accountability, indeed, the crimes that have been unveiled under this regime, even Nana Addo Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, if it were to be in the 70s, 79 specifically, when we did the house cleaning exercise, I am sure many of them would have faced the firing squad by now if we were to reverse what is happening, because they would have been viable candidates for execution. Our compatriots, our senior compatriots died for less. Moro, when we talk about corruption, it borders on the health of the nation. Look at our compatriots. Look at the citizens of Ghana. Look at how they suffer on a daily basis in our hospitals. Because there are certain basic drugs that we cannot afford to even get our hospitals running. And yet still we have the likes of Hanan, alleged, and Addo and Co. alleged to have siphoned such huge sums of money. This should annoy any person who is interested in the progress of this country. Ken Ofori, after serving this country for good 8 years, decided to abscond from accountability. And the MPP thinks that it is okay. And their defense is that he has not been charged.
He's seeking medical treatment in America.
And their defense is that he has not been charged.
He has not running away. He's seeking medical
treatment.
We
all know that even at a point that his conditions was calling for him to resign as finance minister, this gentleman failed to resign.
That's also true.
That should be a
so what has changed?
That should be a feather in his cap.
No, wait. So why would such a person, today that he appears even healthy and hearty,
How do you know? They said the man is seeking help.
Oh, my brother, the guy decided to run away from the country after President Mahama was sworn into office. No, everybody knows as a matter of fact. He ran away from the country. When was he ever? Richard, please, you will have your turn. When has he ever left this country for that long? Even when it was obvious, your own MPs called on him to resign. And we had reports that he was unwell, even as sitting finance minister. And your own members of parliament called for him to resign. Did he resign? Did he? But because we are not dealing with issues of accountability, all of a sudden, he's so unwell to the extent that he cannot even take a flight to Ghana for a day or two to answer questions. He's not been charged in line with the principle of accountability. So when it was about being in charge of our money, he was in good health and he was willing to sacrifice his health conditions to be in charge of Ghana's money. But the time has come for accountability. All of a sudden, he cannot be found, and the likes of Richard,
no, because his health
benefited nothing.
Because his health has deteriorated.
Who benefited nothing from his looting.
Hamza, because his health has deteriorated.
Oh, my brother, Richard, Moro. What? You see, today you are being called to defend such looting. It is clearly unacceptable. Moro, the NPP is the greatest threat to our democratic and economic stability as a country.
Right.
And it is time we started dealing with it head on. And that is why many of us continue to argue that taking the NPP out of power in the last election is not enough. We must continue to bring sunshine, even on them, as they conduct their affairs in opposition. Okay. Because it is in the interest of every Ghanaian not to have these guys anywhere close to the presidency of this country. We cannot continue to be rolled back by the desires of the NPP to extort our limited resources.
Okay.
And we must show that revulsion.
Okay.
We must show that revulsion. I want us to see that revulsion. You see, unfortunately, that is one downturn of democratic governance. I have always argued that we should have had a system in place where even political parties beyond elections, the people would have a mechanism of continuing to evaluate, or the state, whether indeed certain political parties should still continue to function as political parties because of their records in government. And if we had such a system, I'm quite convinced that the Ghanaian people or that system would have vomited out the New Patriotic Party as far as our political discourse in this country is concerned. And it would have been illegal for them to participate as MPP in the politics of this country, because they have taken this country for granted and they have committed heinous economic crimes.
So we're going to do this. We have just
against the Republic.
We don't end or take us off anyway, so it's not about me.
I'm not PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.